Hello, welcome to the first of what we are hoping are going to be a series of chatty videos where we just chat like we do off of camera all the time, but instead do it on camera so that you can join in the conversations. And I am joined by, as you can tell, Joanna from the channel Joana Sousa, whose channel will be linked down in the description box. Do go and check that out. And today we are talking about Christmas and Christmas traditions because we're both, if you didn't know, Portuguese, but I grew up in the UK, and so I use more British type Christmas traditions, and Joanna is a little bit different, so I'll let you tell them how your Christmas is.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. So I also, like you, didn't grow up in Portugal. I grew up in Luxembourg. However, I adopted absolutely none of the Luxembourgish traditions. So except for like one thing, which is not really Christmas. It's more like a Saint Nicholas, which is on the 6th of December. But I am fully Portuguese in terms of traditions for Christmas. So
Mm-hmm. So I thought what we would do is we would talk through how, like, the three main days, I guess, of Christmas work for us, and any
okay.
traditions that we usually have, and what what we did this year, and whether that was the same or different or whatever. So Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day. I don't really do anything other than just, like, an advent calendar before those 3 days, but you just mentioned the 6th of December, so I don't know if you want to speak about that first.
Well, I do that, and then I have that little tradition that you know about with my mom that we didn't do this year actually.
Oh.
And now I started for myself a Christmas Eve, if you will, tradition. So, yeah, on the 6th of December in Luxembourg. So in most Germanic countries, so I know the Netherlands celebrates Saint Nicholas as well, and in Germany I think as well. So we celebrate Saint Nick, and he comes with his buddy, whom we had a lot of issues because of racism, because he was traditionally always black, and now they have finally realized how damaging that is to have the bad person be black. So finally, you're not allowed to call him anything related like that. But it was terrible. Anyway, so what you do is that you put a little plate or a little shoe and you put it by the door, and then Saint Nick, puts you little candy or presents in your shoe or on your plate if you were good, and if you weren't, then his buddy gives it's not a lump of coal, but you get like a piece of wood so that your parents could like hit you with.
Nice.
That
Only in the
is,
Germanic countries.
here's a stick so you can get beaten with. But yeah, that's what we did as children, and at school it was always a big thing, and at work we still do stuff for it. So we just hand out oranges and nuts and chocolates for everyone, and you get like this bag. It's this you can buy these, but I need to buy you one of these next year. It's like a bag, and there's just a crap ton of different chocolates and cookies and stuff in it, and they're just huge, and they're called your St. Nicholas bag. And so it's just a tradition we do.
I mean, to be fair, that's pretty similar to an advent calendar anyway.
Well, yeah, it is. I do an advent calendar as well every year. I have a tea one and I have a chocolate one, which the tea one is a tradition I started for myself last year. And then the chocolate one is one that I've had since I was a kid. My mom always buys it for me. Even when I was living in America, she would send it to me. So,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
Because she was like, no,
cute.
you can't eat that nasty chocolate that they have over
Well,
there. She isn't
yeah.
wrong.
Is it really
So,
different? I've never been to
so
America, so I
so
don't know.
you can get Lindt and stuff, but of course it's way more expensive. But Hershey's, literally, and people say I exaggerate, but I do not exaggerate. If you imagine eating a chocolate that has the consistency of a candle with the taste of puke.
Ew,
That's what it's like.
that's disgusting.
Yeah,
Why would anybody eat that?
because they don't know any better.
They know that puke's not for eating.
You would hope. Maybe
Oh,
it's
you
just
would
me.
hope.
Maybe I'm too sensitive. But I remember the first time I realized it, I was eating s'mores, and I was like, something tastes off, like really off. And I was like, did I just, how sometimes you puke in your mouth? I was like, did I just puke in my mouth? You can edit this
Oh,
out if you want. And I was No, I didn't. It's the gross ass chocolate.
Ew.
Chocolate. And so every time I would go to a
Right.
s'mores party in America after this, I would bring my own chocolate because I was like, I refuse to eat this crap that you're serving as chocolate. Anyway,
God.
back to Christmas. So that, and then the other tradition I have in December with my mom is that we always go to Germany, to this town that's not too far away from us, and we go do some shopping there. But we didn't do that this year. So
Oh. Yeah, the only really other kind of on the advent calendar thing, I also had a tea advent calendar and a chocolate advent calendar this year. And my mum also really likes, you know, those fabric advent calendars you can buy that have like the buttons with the numbers on.
oh yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
well, my mum likes to make a calendar out of that. So she buys like these little fabric bags, just little ones like this, and she'll put like chocolates and
Oh,
lip
that's
balm
cute.
and random stuff in little days. So I had that as well this year, which I shared with Lee, and he had a Lego advent calendar
Nice.
as well. So yeah, and then the other thing that we do is, or used to do, I don't really do this anymore, but when I lived at home with my parents, one day in December, it wasn't ever a specific day, we would walk up to this nearby place that sells Christmas trees and wreaths, and we'd buy a fresh wreath, just like holly and whatever else, and we'd get a McDonald's and we'd go home and we'd hang the wreath up and we'd eat the McDonald's and watch a Christmas film.
Oh,
So
that's
that was
lovely.
my mum and sister still did that this year, but
Oh.
I didn't go.
I also have the thing with my mom. We always go buy our trees together on the same day, and we go always to the same store. We buy our trees, and then
Mm,
yeah. Another thing I realized that I do in December is, of course, Christmas markets. But that's just,
mm,
I mean, that's like it's not a tradition. It's just a thing you do in December, you know. So,
mm.
well, I guess you and I started our own tradition this
We
year that we hope to make a
did.
tradition.
Yes, we did. So we had Friendmas
Yay!
this year, which was very cute. So we went to the Christmas markets.
Twice, in fact.
Yeah, we did actually, yeah. And well, I suppose three times technically, because we went to two different Christmas markets on the first day, but
Hmm.
twice.
Yeah.
And we did a gift exchange and we watched Christmas films. We ate food. It was great. It was
We
great.
drank lots of tea.
We drank lots of tea. We did. It was wonderful.
That's great, honestly. Like, what could you want more?
Nothing.
No.
No.
Cats, books, tea,
Yes,
Christmas, movies.
and the Stee, which is Joanna's cat, decided
Yeah.
that I have the best lap of
Yeah.
all laps.
For 3 hours. No, it was
Yeah,
more like 1.5 or something. And then he went off and then he came back on for 1.5 hours.
yeah, yeah,
What a
yeah.
cutie.
It was a good time. It was a good time. So Christmas Eve wise, I know that this is a thing in Portugal, and I'll let you explain about that. But here, Christmas Eve is not really a thing. And even though Pi, my dad, is Portuguese, he has always worked in the hotel industry, which means he has always worked on Christmas Eve. So we just don't do anything for it. Really, the only traditions we have in my family around Christmas Eve are watching a Christmas film in the evening before bed. My sister always really likes to watch. It's called Scrooge. It's one of the Christmas Carol films, but it's she's gonna kill me. I can't remember which one it is. Either way, that's the one that she always watches. I have started watching Klaus on Christmas Eve. I've done that for the last couple of years now, and I think that that will be my Christmas Eve film from now on because it's just so cute
Yeah.
and I love it. But otherwise, that's it. Christmas Eve wise for us.
That's
How
very
about you?
different because in
Mm,
Portugal, Christmas Eve is the main event. And I was telling
yeah.
Sophia this privately the other day on Christmas Eve. I think I was telling you this that
Mm,
in Portugal, Christmas Eve is such a big thing that growing up, I used to think that Christmas was on Christmas Eve
mm,
because we do the gift exchange then. Everything happens on Christmas Eve. And Christmas is just a day where you eat the leftovers and where you're just in a food coma all day and you watch Tony Carreira on TV, because any one of his concerts is on TV, and then you have the whole family who knows the songs of this one Portuguese singer, and everyone is singing them. So that's basically Christmas Day. But back to Christmas Eve. So I've only been to Portugal once or twice for Christmas Eve and for Christmas in general. But so something I started doing for myself on Christmas Eve is also watch Klaus for the past, I think was the third year that I've watched it on Christmas Eve. And it's just such a cute movie and I love it. I put it on when I'm cooking because I usually host Christmas Eve dinner.
Okay.
So I will spend Christmas Eve cooking and just putting on Christmas movies. I put on movies that I've seen before because then I don't really need to focus 100%
Yeah.
on the movie. And this Christmas Eve, I watched Klaus while I was cooking. I watched The Princess Switch 2, which I had never seen before, but you don't need to focus for that. And then I watched another one I don't remember which one, but I watched another one. And so what we do is just we get together as a family on Christmas Eve and we have this very big dinner and everyone stays awake until midnight where the gift exchange happens. When I was a kid in Portugal, we had the one Christmas Eve I remember spending there, my cousin dressed up as Santa. And he had this huge bag of toys, of course. And so I don't remember your grandma's house if it has heating inside, but back then my grandma's house didn't have heating. And so on Christmas Eve, it's December, it's freezing, and so it's colder inside of the house than outside.
Yeah.
And so they have to have these very big fires and these like electric stoves and stuff. And so my cousin didn't pay attention and he just held the bag too close to the fire and the whole bag started catching on fire. And someone had gifted his parents a very big comforter, like to put over the bed, like very nice.
No.
And that's the thing that was catching on fire.
Oh no. Oh,
it was hilarious. Like scary, but also hilarious. And yeah, so that's what we do for Christmas Eve. Just the whole family gets together and you eat a ton of food, and you spend it however playing games, watching movies, whatever, until midnight, when then someone is dressed up as Santa and brings the gifts, and then the kids have to go to bed. So
nice. And what did you do this year?
More importantly,
what did you eat this year? Because really, it's the food that's the most.
It's the food. So in Portugal, this is the sad part in Portugal. So Christmas Eve is the main event, right? But they eat the most boring food on Christmas Eve that there could possibly be on Earth. And this is true for the North at least. I don't know about the South. But so on Christmas Eve, the tradition is that you eat cod, so bacalhau.
Yeah.
You eat it cooked. You just have this huge pot of water. You boil potatoes, carrots, and the bacalhau, and then you make some greens on the side, and that's it. And I'm like, this is the most boring ass dinner. Why would we eat this on Christmas Day? I mean, on Christmas Eve. This is like, you eat like kings all year, and then on Christmas Eve, you eat like freaking peasants. Like this.
Well, I guess that's the point, right?
Yeah, it is the point. But I'm like, no, this is crap. I don't want to eat this. But they use it then for the next day to make this dish called roupa velha, which means old clothes. So you take it all and then you put it all through oil in a pan and then you add the spice and then it's actually delicious. So now my mom will literally, because I host Christmas Eve dinner and I refuse to make boring food. So my mom will literally on Christmas Eve at lunch bake bacalhau, carrots, potatoes just to make old clothes for the next day, so we have it on Christmas Day. We did that this year. So this year on Christmas Eve, every Christmas Eve I make a green bean casserole from scratch because I just love it. So it's green beans and then like a creamy mushroom sauce, and then you put it in the oven with like fried onions, crispy onions on top. And then I made a potato gratin. So you cook the potatoes instead of cooking them in water, you cook them in milk and in cream. And then you add a bunch of nutmeg, salt, pepper, and then in the oven with a crap ton of cheese on top. Delicious. And I made my first ever mushroom Wellington, which turned out to be fantastic. And it's probably going to be a staple because I don't like to cook meat. So I ate that. And then for dessert, I made a tiramisu. And then we have Portuguese desserts as well, always.
Did you confess to your mom?
I did not.
That it was mushroom?
Oh, did I tell him? Oh, I thought you meant did I go to a priest, because that's actually a thing you go on. I'm like, did I go to church on Christmas Eve? Do I love myself?
No, no. You said that your mum and George were trying to figure out what meat was in the Wellington. Did you confess to them that it was actually mushroom?
Yeah, I did, because so they saw the Wellington and they were like, "Huh, oh, it's like a meatloaf," and I was like, I didn't reply. I was just like, "Oh, do you want green beans?" Blah blah blah, like deflecting, and then George cut it open, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, it is a meatloaf. I want." What meat is this? And he started poking, and he's like, "Well, there's definitely mushrooms in there because I can smell mushrooms." And then he took a bite. And he's like, "Yeah, yeah, I can definitely taste the mushrooms, and it tastes amazing, but I still don't know what meat it is." And my mom tried it because she's always a bit behind. So then she tried. She's like, "Yeah, I can't tell either." And then they both looked at me. It's like, "Yeah, there's no meat in there." They're like, "Oh, really? What is in it?" So I told them it was mushrooms, it was nuts, and it was oh crap,
Yum.
English um chestnuts, cooked chestnuts. There we go.
Yummy.
Yeah.
Ooh, how yummy. Yeah, the thing. So I suppose we kind of do boring food on Christmas Eve, but mostly it's because we know we're going to be cooking loads
But
on
it's not your
Christmas
main event,
Day.
so it's fine. Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
yeah. So we just, like, for example, I think my mum did fish fingers and chips in the oven on Christmas Eve, just because, like, it's easy, it's quick, and you already know that you're going to spend hours in the kitchen the next day, so let's just not even go there.
Mm.
But yeah, we don't really, beyond that, have anything on Christmas Eve. But then on Christmas Day, it's not my favorite day, but in the UK, it is like the main event. So this is where, it all happens. And when we were little, the tradition would be, because kids wake up early on Christmas Day, right? Because they're excited. I guess it's probably different in Portugal though, because if you know you're opening presents at midnight, you're not going to wake up at like 3 a.m. on Christmas Eve, because
No.
what's the point?
No, but that's the
Whereas,
thing. They stay awake late, and then on Christmas Day, everyone sleeps in. So
yeah. So, but in the UK, or at least in my family, you would, as a kid, you'd have a stocking, which Father Christmas would come and fill up for you while you were asleep, which, when you think about it now as an adult, it's kind of creepy, but whatever.
I mean, he knows when you're awake. He knows all the
Yeah,
shit. So
yeah, exactly. So he would come into your room and fill your stocking and then leave again. And so in the morning, you would usually wake up early so that you can open your stocking. And me and my sister used to, well, mostly my sister, used to wake up at like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and we'd open our stocking and then maybe go back to sleep for a little bit, and then we would go in to my parents. Probably we could get away with that at around 8-9 a.m. ish, to show them what we got in our stocking. Ours was like chocolates and crisps and
oh yeah, okay.
fizzy drinks and boxes of tissues. There was always a box of tissues. I don't know why, but there was always a box of tissues in there.
Okay.
And like a magazine, or something like that.
That's so cute,
And
though.
then we'd get up and we'd have breakfast, and then in my family at least, we would sit down and we all open our presents together. So this, I don't know if this is the Portuguese side, or whether this is just a thing that is in my family, but we will hand out one present at a time, and open it and kind of react to that present and then move on to the next one. So it does take quite a while to get through it all, because it's all, ooh, what did you get? Ooh, what did you get? And then and then the next person, and so on and so forth. And then after that, it's whoever's doing the cooking then goes to spend like the next 2-3, however many hours, cooking the dinner. And then after you've eaten the dinner, usually you then are like asleep on the sofa.
Is
pretty
dinner
much.
lunch?
That's a whole thing in this country. That is a whole thing in this country.
We won't go there.
Yeah. So it's called
because you said
dinner.
breakfast, and then they go cook for 3 hours, and it's not time for dinner yet.
Yeah. So Christmas, I mean, it depends on the family. We call it Christmas dinner. Lee and I this year had ours at 2 p.m., so it was lunch. But I think that my mum did hers for about 5 or 6
Yeah, okay.
p.m., so it was dinner. So it's just this general term of Christmas dinner, but kind of people just have it at different times of the
Yeah.
day. And if you do have it early enough, then usually what will happen is when you get hungry again in the evening, you will have a sandwich with the leftover
Hmm.
cold meat from dinner. So that's how Christmas Day
Okay.
works.
I have a fun story from one, and this is like the one Christmas Eve I ever spent in Portugal. So gift exchange, how you were saying about reacting. So we
Mm,
had an aunt. Well, she's still alive. I have an aunt, but she's no longer with my uncle, so I don't really see her. Um,
mhm.
and she was known for giving her daughters like the best of the best. Like they didn't have any money, but Christmas, you bet your sweet bottom dollar, those kids had like the most expensive toys.
Where's that dish day?
Yeah, he's gonna start yelling at me. um, come in. There we go. They would have the most expensive toys. They would have like the biggest, like there was boxes that were gigantic, and we knew, okay, this is their gifts. And then we knew she was terrible at giving other people gifts. Like you would get like a bracelet she made herself with like 3 beads attached to it, and then as
Oh,
soon as you put it on, it would explode because it was that crappily made. And so my cousin and I, we would go hide to open the gifts because we didn't want her to see our reaction because it was always like, well, you know, like the reaction was appropriate to the gift, but you didn't want to be those people being like ungrateful or so. So
mm, mm-hmm.
yeah, family
Yeah,
time.
yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah, it can be a bit awkward, but it's
Yeah.
it's really good fun, and I love it because I just love giving people presents that will make them smile. So just what like especially because I'm really bad at keeping secrets and I'm such an impatient person. It is so hard for me to do my Christmas shopping and then have to wait weeks,
Mm-hmm.
possibly even months in some cases, to watch that person open the gift. So I am
Yeah.
just like sat there so excited that they're finally gonna find out what I got for them.
See, I don't know
That
how
I
you
just
and
love it.
I don't know how we're best friends because I hate when people watch me open my gifts because of the aunt. You know, it's like a trauma from her. And so I always get so nervous because I'm like, what if my reaction is lackluster? Like, what if? And so I had a colleague at work, and we're really good friends now. So she the other day came in. She's like, "I have your Christmas gift," and I was like, "Oh dear Lord, is she gonna let me open it in front of her?" And she did. She waited until I opened, and it was all good. And the gifts I really enjoyed and stuff. But I'm always like, I have that one moment of like, what if, what if I. Oh gosh. And I used to like not even want to open the gifts in front of people. I was just like, okay, thanks, I'll open them later. They're like, no, that's not how it works. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it was really a new thing to Lee when we first started having Christmases together, not when we first got together, because for a few years we weren't together at Christmas. But when we first started spending Christmases together, he's kind of just used to like everybody just compiles their pile and sits there and opens it, and then we all just move on with our day. And that was just weird to me. And I was like, I want to see you open your present. I want to see whether you like it. And he was like,
I'll
well,
tell
I'll
you if I
tell
like
you.
it.
Yeah. I was
I'm
like,
Team Lee on this one.
I'm just like, no, don't
Oh
spoil the fun.
no, I hate when people watch me open gifts. I hate it, man. It's such a pressure moment for my reactions, you know. But then again, you did see my reactions to your gifts, so they were. I cried with a mug. Like, come on.
Oh,
And then the
it's a
best gift
pretty
arrived.
mug.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I use it every day. It's my go-to mug.
Yay.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So
you
that.
were asking me about Christmas Day. So, like I
Mm,
told you, Christmas Day is just like basically what I told you already. We eat food, we watch Tony Carrero on TV, and that's it. And we're all in a food coma. So
mm, it's
this
good.
year I spent it at my mom's house. So what we did is I went over there and then we had lunch and then we watched Christmas movies all day.
Nice, nice. So now that Lee and I live together, we alternate. So we split Christmas Day and Boxing Day between each of our families. And this year was supposed to be Christmas Day with Lee's mum, so she would have come here, and then we would go to my parents for Boxing Day. But unfortunately, Lee's mum wasn't able to come this year, so we just spent it at home, just the two of us. And that meant that I cooked Christmas dinner for the first time in a few years. Now, I think the last time I did Christmas dinner was that COVID Christmas.
Oh yeah.
So it's been however long it's been, who knows at this point, a couple of years. Either way, so I did just a small amount of turkey, just like a turkey thigh, which I roasted, and I boiled. What is this about boiling things? But
You don't deep fry them.
you boil cod, I boil ham. Uh, so I did a boiled ham, and I did some sausage meat and stuffing, and some roast potatoes, which were very crispy. I was very happy with that. And honey roast parsnips and carrots, and some peas.
You know I haven't had dinner, right? That sounds so good.
It was nice. It was really nice. I was actually quite pleased, and I did get Lee to actually help me. He was my little sous chef this year, which was nice.
Did Shinji and Haruki help too?
They helped by not getting in the way too much, which was good. And then, so the funny thing about them is because they're so young, they've only ever had dry food, so like kibbles. And anytime we've ever tried to give them anything else, they're pretty ambivalent about it. Like, I've cooked a chicken before and gone, oh, let's see, and put a little bit of chicken on each of their bowls, and they've been like, well, they ate it, but they weren't
not impressed.
Exactly. So we were like, well, I don't think we've ever tried giving them any ham before, so let's try it. They loved it.
Oh, yay!
They loved it. We finally found something that they actually care about, so they enjoyed that.
Cuties.
We tried them with the turkey. They ate it, but not bothered. But the gammon was good. And also we bought a little tray of wet cat food that was called Turkey Feast. So we gave them half of that each, and they did actually quite enjoy that as well.
Oh,
so
good.
They were spoiled. How about Starkey?
Starkey doesn't know the difference between any other day because he's spoiled every day. The only thing about different for him is that Christmas Eve and Christmas Day and stuff, he cannot go on the table because the table is dressed nicely, because I never eat at my kitchen table. And so here I'm like, get off the table. And he's like, why? What's different about today?
Yeah. I'm allowed on it any other day. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. But yeah, well, he was a bit upset this year because my mom came on Christmas Eve, like I told you, and she brought her dog. Yeah. And he considers him, well, I think he considers him to be a demon. He's never actually told me, but given his reactions, he's like,
he tells you with his demeanor.
Yeah. So he was pretty much gone all Christmas Eve, and then the second they left, he was like, meow, I want to come back inside. So yeah, you. Yeah.
We're talking about
Do you hear him?
Yeah. A little bit.
Yeah, come then. Yeah, come. You're invited. Of course, you're almost gonna drop the water. So yeah, that was. How was your Christmas, Starkey? He's looking at the lights. Did you have a good Christmas? No. Well, sorry.
We'll just take that as a yes.
Yeah. Oh no! Don't do that. This is so silly.
So that's Christmas Day, and then Boxing Day is my personal favorite. But I think it's very different for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I know that some people, I don't know if they still do this because online shopping is such a big thing now, but at least when I was younger, I do know that some people would get up like super early on Boxing Day, like 5-6 a.m. to go into town and queue up to go into shops for the Boxing Day sales. Like, I never did that, but I knew people who did. But Boxing Day in my family is the day when the whole family come together. So it would usually be my parents, my sister, and I, and then my grandma, and when he was alive, also my granddad, and my aunt and uncle. And now that they have kids, their kids come along
Cool.
as well. And now that Natalie and I, that's my sister, and I have partners, we bring our partners with us as well. And it's again, it's a little bit similar to what Portuguese people do on Christmas Day. Is on Boxing Day, we then eat all of the left, well, not all of them, because usually there's too much even to get through all of them on Boxing Day, but usually that's what we do, is we eat leftovers and exchange gifts with any of the people that we didn't see on the previous day, and just hang out and chat. And my family usually will do like a quiz or something that my uncle will put together for us.
Cute.
Yeah. So we had one. I think I got a couple of questions right out of 32, but
Okay.
I'm absolutely useless at general knowledge quizzes, which is what this
This
was.
is
But
no.
that's generally what we do on Boxing Day.
So in Portugal, Boxing Day is actually not a holiday, so they are back at work.
Mm,
But in Luxembourg it is, and since I grew up here, so Boxing Day was always just, oh yeah, that day after Christmas where you don't work, so people don't do anything. Um, my mom so she works in healthcare, so
mm,
she usually is off either like Christmas or New Year's, and then, but it tended even to be that if she was off from Christmas, it meant she was off Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, but not Boxing Day, unless Boxing Day felt like on a Sunday or something, you know. But
mm,
this year she didn't work, so they came over here and we had lunch together, and then they left. So it was actually, I think, the first year I really did something for Boxing Day that I can
mm,
remember. But usually it's just the day where, you know, you have extra time because you don't work. So
mm-hmm,
but my favorite, because you're talking about favorites, is Christmas
mm.
Eve. I just love
Yeah,
Christmas Eve. I even now think I love Christmas Eve because it's just like the extra anticipation, you know, like
yeah, yeah.
since Christmas Eve is our big day, I think I get that excitement on the 23rd.
Eve, yeah.
And so
Nice.
thanks, Starkey.
Yeah.
Are you claiming the computer as your own? Yeah, good job.
Oh, it's such a cutie.
Yeah, he is.
And what about King's Day? Because that's a Portuguese thing, right?
Ah, in January.
Yeah. Is that a
Well,
thing you do or not?
Well, I do it because it's also a thing here. I think it's celebrated differently. I don't know how they celebrate it in Portugal, but here you get like a little. It's not a cake. It's more like a. It's like in between a cake and a pie type of thing, and then there's a little thing in there, and whoever gets the little toy that's inside the cake, watch out not to kill your teeth. You know, you get the crown, and then you have to buy the cake the next year. So,
Ah,
yeah, but it's
okay.
not
Is
like a
that the
big deal.
7th or something?
Here, I think it's the
Around here.
6th of January. I
6th.
think, but I don't know. Like, and it's not a big thing. It's like, yeah, you get the cake. Everyone does it. Yeah.
Yeah,
But like we work and stuff. It's not like it's a bank holiday or
yeah.
anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, watch out.
It's
There
like,
we go.
give me attention. You're not paying
Yeah,
enough
because I've been
attention
gone
to
all
me, Mama.
day. Yeah.
So, that's a little bit about our Christmas traditions and how our Christmases went this year. Did you have anything else that you missed out, Joanna?
I don't think so. I mean, it was also my first Christmas alone that I remember it being,
Mm,
because I was for 8 years in a long-term relationship. Well, yeah, 8 years is clearly a long-term relationship. So, and yeah, it was actually, I was a bit worried about it, but it ended up being nice because I always, I love Christmas. I'm a Christmas person. I start listening to Christmas music in July, and then I take a break until November, and then I start in November. I started watching Christmas movies in November. I do all my Christmas shopping in November. Like I am Christmas for 2 months. I'm like the day
mm,
spooky season is over because we don't celebrate Halloween here. It's like December 31st, and then it's October 31st, and then it's like November 1st is Christmas.
yeah.
So um And this year I really let myself live it. I went to so many Christmas parties, so many Christmas outings. We did the ugly sweater day at work. We did so much stuff this year. I feel like it was my first year being like fully immersed in Christmas, you know, because I started really early and I did so many different things. And so it was actually really nice.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. I think I start on like, and this is really bad because I really shouldn't do this, but I start on the Christmas snacking in November for sure, which means
Wow.
that instead of like 1 month of bad eating, I get 2 months of bad eating, which isn't great. But
I did that too. This year I did it as well.
Yeah, it's fine. It's
It is
fine.
fine.
But we just thought it would be fun to share these things because we think it's interesting to learn about other people's traditions and cultures. So if you have any traditions you want to tell us about, then please do drop them down in the comments for us so that we can have a read. And I think our next chatty sort of episode thing is going to be over on Joanna's channel. So there won't be a link for it in the description of this one yet because it doesn't exist yet. But once it does, I will try to remember to come back to this video and put the link in. And I think we're going to be doing a 2022 book bracket to try and figure out what our favourite book of the year is if we follow the book bracket methodology, which neither of us do, but just for funsies. So I think that is all, unless you have anything else you want to add.
No, thank you for having me. It was really fun to chat about Christmas.
Yeah, keep it going for as long as
Yeah, I know.
Thank you all for joining us, and we hope to see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.